everyone, it's Justine and welcome back to the 12 Days of Christmas 2016. Today's day 4 and we're going to be learning how to make this shaker card featuring products from Clearly Besotted Stamps and a few other companies. So I'm going to start off with a stitched rectangle die from Simon Says Stamp and a card panel that measures 4 by 5¼ inches. And I'm going to be die cutting this here, and make sure to save both pieces because we're going to be using both of them. I eventually cut down this panel to 3¾ by 5 inches, so just keep that in mind. Next up, I'm going to take a piece of patterned paper, and this is from Doodlebug, and I absolutely love the candy cane pattern, and I'm going to be die cutting both of these circle dies here, one smaller than the other, so that it creates a circle frame. The stitched rectangles are Simon Says Stamp, and now you can see the frame that I've cut out fits perfectly around the circle that I cut out of the white panel. I'm going to glue this down now. Again, I already have in mind what I'm going to be doing, so I don't mind gluing as I go. Usually I would tend to save all the pieces and kind of fit them together and see how I like them, but overall I do know what I'm doing. So for this pattern paper, you want to make sure that it is upright. So if you're using a patterned paper that's supposed to go in a certain direction, that's definitely something that you want to make sure it does actually happen. And you'll notice that I kept that inner circle as well from the white, and I'm going to be using that after. This is the part where I trimmed down my regular panel that was 4 by 5¼ and I trimmed them 1/4 inch on each side. Now I'm just going to grab this other patterned paper from Doodlebug as well, and I'm going to cut out the sentiment from this pattern paper. This pattern is such a cool pattern because you can use it kind of as a quilt pattern on your card, or you can just cut out the individual elements and use them as embellishments for your card. So you automatically have embellishments that match your paper. So I like paper packs like that include a nice wide variety. So now I'm going to get started at kind of putting my shaker card together. I'm going to attach this Happy Holidays here to the front. So I'm just going to attach some glue or adhere the glue on the sides, and I'm going to put it slightly above. And then I just need to add my adhesive to the actual back of the card because I need to add my acetate here. So you can use acetate packaging, whatever you want. I like to use actual acetate that's meant for crafting because I find it doesn't give off such a glare as packaging paper does, but it's a completely decision that's up to you. I'm going to grab a card base and I'm going to attach the candy cane patterned paper as well to the front of that. That's measuring 4 by 5¼ and then my white panel that's measuring 3¾ by 5. I'm going to stick down the white piece here so that it sticks right in the middle. So now you'll see the frames match on both sides around the circle as well as around the rectangle pattern. Now that I have my circle attached to my card and I know where to place it, I'm going to be starting my stamping, and I'm going to be using the Let's Prance stamp set from Clearly Besotted Stamps. This stamp set here I believe is still available at Simon Says Stamp, but Clearly Besotted is taking a slight break until the new year, so if you are looking for this stamp, I would suggest getting it right away because they aren't making any at the moment. I'm going to be stamping in Memento ink because I'm going to be Copic coloring these. I'm not going to do any fancy Copic coloring because I understand that a shaker card already takes so much time, especially when you're making bulk Christmas cards, that you don't want to be spending a lot of time coloring too. Shaker cards and coloring that requires a lot of Copics go to those really special people for my Christmas cards that really appreciate the work that I do. Now, because I'm not doing anything special with my Copic markers, I'm just going to speed you right through this. I'm used R29 for the red, and I wanted to make sure that one was red and one kind of had green accents, so it picked up the color of the pattern paper and it picks up the color of the sentiment. The green one I believe is G09, and then I use N8 to color the nose, E17 to cover their bodies, and I did darken them up a little bit afterwards as well, but you could just leave them like this. Again, just very simple coloring and short, sweet, and to the point. I went in with a little bit of E18, hoping to add some shadow, but it ended up being quite dark, so I had to go back in again with that E17 and just darken up the reindeer overall again. So that was all I really did for coloring for that, except for adding a little bit of red to the nose. And then I just needed to add the shaker bits. So I'm just going to place my 3D tape. Now, as I mentioned, I just recently moved back to Canada and all of my stuff just arrived yesterday, which is super exciting. However, I don't really have any good 3D foam tape, so I just kind of had to make do with what I had here. It's a really thin foam tape what I'm using, and it's not exactly good because I had to cut, it's too thick, or it's too wide, I should say, not thick enough, and it's too wide, so I had to really fiddle with it around the edges. And I know there's lots of really great stamping or 3D foam tape made for shaker cards now on the market that are already circular, for example, or that are thinner and more 3D or more malleable and things like that. So definitely use the 3D foam tape of your choice, and I wouldn't recommend the one that I'm using because, again, it just looks like a lot of work because it is. So I'm just going in and adding various embellishments now. I absolutely love this bead case from Simon Says Stamp because it kind of has all the colors, and that's what's going to really make the shake go on. And then I grabbed some of these iridescent stars from Pretty Pink Posh, and I added those to the mix as well, and just some red sequins and things like that. And then I just put on my panel over top, and it's shakeable and ready to go, and I can finally fold my card base and have it all finished. So I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial today and you learned a little bit about shaker cards and the do's and don'ts. I'm having a giveaway here on my channel, so if you would like to win this stamp set from Clearly Besotted Stamps, please just let me know what your favorite holiday film is. I'm always curious. And let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be back tomorrow for day 5. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well as leave a comment for the giveaway.